have. It is a motor neuron disease, so you can expect they may be having some stiffness, some aches and pains, or some weakness. Okay, and then I would set up a context that, so when we met last time, you were diagnosed with motor neuron disease. So may I know what is the particular concern today, or may I know what brings you here today? Because it's not quite clear from the background. Why are they visiting me? Okay, I haven't arranged any follow up, and this is not a regular checkup as well. So, although I know the patient, I don't know the reason for their visit today. You know, yeah, it is quite clear from the background, but can you imagine when you're actually doing this role play, would I be already aware that the patient is going to come today and discuss these things with me? No. Okay, so I would start with some casual discussion about, their health, and then I would say, is there any particular reason for today's visit, or may I know why are you seeing me today? And then they would explain their concerns. Now, once they explain it, okay, now what would happen here is, in the beginning they would say that, you told me to appoint someone as a medical power of attorney, but I'm not quite sure if I need one, or I'm not quite sure if it is necessary to appoint a medical power of attorney. So here you have to explain that, okay, to them. So if they don't already mention that, my son is this and that, you would need to ask a follow-up question. If they say that, I'm not quite sure if I should appoint a medical power of attorney. So in that case, you would say, although it is not absolutely necessary to appoint a medical power of attorney, but it would be good for you if you have a power of attorney. The decision making process would become much more easier for the healthcare team if you have a power of attorney. May I know why you are so concerned about it? Okay, so you need to elicit further concerns from them, and then they would say that, I'm not very close to my son, and that is the reason I don't want to appoint him as a medical power of attorney. Now, once they have explained that they are not close to their son, that becomes entirely their family matter. And probably here I would not try to further intrude their privacy by asking, why is that so? Okay. So I would have to again understand their perspective here, acknowledge it, and show empathy. Okay. So how would I do? What phrase would I use here when they say that I'm not very close to my son? I would say, I see. That happens. We all have those. Sometimes the wavelength simply doesn't match. Okay, so try not to worry too much about it. It's not necessary to appoint your son as a medical power of attorney. You can also appoint someone other, or you can also appoint any of your friends or relatives if you think they are trustworthy. Okay? So the role play card would be just giving you the hint, but it's important that you expand on those hints. Okay, otherwise if you just try to speak the same sentences as they are given in the role play card, you wouldn't be able to produce language. You need to actually have this role play for 5 minutes. Okay, and it's very important that you expand on each topic, why it could be useful to have a medical power of attorney when they have a motor neuron disease. And instead of just saying other than his or her son, you can give them options actually who can be. So it could be any of their friends, close friends, it could be any of their relatives if they think they are trustworthy, okay, or if they can take decisions on their behalf. Now, once you will explain this, you can expect that they would come up with this concern that the son, wants to become the power of attorney. So here also it says that what if the son appoints himself? as the power of attorney, because they are feeling pressure to appoint him as a medical power of attorney. So once you have explained this, they might say that no, I can't think of anyone who can, become my power of attorney. So they see, when they are expressing this concern, how lonely they might be feeling, right? And here your empathy would play an important role. So you can use an empathetic statement by saying that, yeah, I can see you are, passing through the most difficult times, and I can see your feelings. You are feeling unsupported. But don't worry, your son cannot actually, if they express the concern, of course. So here to reassure them, you can say that, don't worry, we are there as a medical team to support you. As a your general physician, I would support you as much as I can. And then they would express another concern, but what if I don't appoint anyone, and what if my son appoints himself as a power of attorney? So then again, I would need to use a phrase to acknowledge their concern by saying that, um, yeah, it's natural to have such fears, and this is the most crucial decision of your life. And I completely agree that the person you appoint as a power of attorney must be a trustworthy person. But don't worry, the rules are quite strict, and the if anyone appoints themselves, it is not legally valid. It's important that you are, fully conscious and aware about the decision of appointing a power of attorney, and you should be able to understand the consequences of appointing someone as a power of attorney. So once you lose the capacity, or once you lose the decision making capacity, in that situation, nobody would be able to appoint themselves as a power of attorney. It's completely within your right to decide this. Okay, so don't worry. And then they would come up with the next question. Okay, that what if I appoint someone, maybe the son or the daughter, or maybe someone else, if they don't provide me with the palliative care, or if they refuse palliative care, or if they arrange for euthanasia. Okay, so now again you can see this kind of um, role plays, the patient would be highly emotional here, because this is almost, extreme kind of feeling that somebody could have, and your reassurance becomes very important here. So just saying I understand your concern wouldn't work. It would look so artificial if you would say I understand your concern every time. Okay, so instead of that, you should use appropriate phrases. Okay, you can say that I completely agree what a concern it is to be not able to receive a palliative care or to be given euthanasia. However, the medical power of attorney does not have the right to take decisions about palliative care or euthanasia. Everyone is by default entitled to receive palliative care, and medical power of attorney has no say in those matters, or they are not entitled to arrange euthanasia. So those decisions cannot be taken without your consent, or the medical power of attorney would not be able to take such decisions. So rest assured about it. Okay, your safety, is there, or we are going to take care of your safety. And then finally, if they would say, if I don't have a medical power of attorney, what would happen, right? Who would be taking decisions on their behalf when they actually lose the decision making capacity? That's when you would offer them to prepare an advanced care plan. So, how can you explain this to them? Is again, here you would need to expand on this instead of using the same phrases here. So, another option, you can tell them that another option here is that You can decide or you can prepare an advanced care plan for yourself. Do you know anything about advanced care plan? Because a lot of them would be aware about it. It is quite common for patients in the Western countries to prepare advanced care plan for themselves. So you can ask them, do you know anything about advanced care plan? And if they don't know, you can go on to explain them. Okay. So in situations like yours, when the person's condition is likely to worsen in the future, and when the condition is quite predictable, what we can do is I can actually explain you about the future consequences that you can face, and I can also discuss with you about the treatment choices that we can offer you. So right now, when you are fully conscious and aware, you can decide what choices would you opt for, or what treatment options would you choose. And then what I can do is I can actually document them on a piece of paper, and then we would make it a legal document. So in future, when you are not able to take decisions for your care, this plan, the advanced care plan, would act as a guideline for us to decide your treatment, or to decide your treatment pathway or plan. Am I clear so far? You can, because you are explaining a lot of details. So after that, you would check if they've understood. Okay. And then another perspective is that you would have to say that another thing I would like to point out here is please make sure that all your finances are sorted. So make sure you meet your lawyer and prepare a will as well. So that isn't a problem in the future. So that is a separate issue. You don't actually have to do much here. It is just a suggestion. Whereas when it comes to advanced care plan, it is usually the patient's GP who prepares advanced care plan. So it is within your scope of practice, you would be developing. That is why it says offered to prepare an advanced care plan. So actually you are going to prepare it for the patient. Yeah, and you would need to explain everything in detail to them about the treatment choices as well. And then that that document then becomes legal. So that is advanced care plan. Right? So such situations can be at times difficult to handle because the patients have quite high emotions, and then you can't every time keep on saying, I understand your concern, I know how difficult it is. You actually have to uh, modify or produce phrases which are relevant to their particular situation, and then give them the choices that are helpful in that particular situation. Right? And then this role play is not at all about information gathering. In the beginning itself, you would ask one or two questions: what brings you here today? And one more concern, why they don't want to appoint anyone as a medical power of attorney, or what is exact concern that they have about medical power of attorney. And then mostly it is about information giving. So again, when you are giving information, there is a three-step strategy. You first check how much they already know, then you give the explanation, and then you check if they have understood what you explained. Now, what I'm going to do for this particular role play card is I'm going to give one particular bullet point to each one of you, and then I'm going to play the patient's part. Remember, your tone plays an important role here, okay, because this is a situation where you need to also convey empathy through your tone and reassurance as well through your tone. So we are going to focus on that today. Now I would be assessing if you are able to use the tone appropriately to convey empathy and reassurance along with those three aspects that we have just studied: acknowledging the concern first, then incorporating that into your explanation. So the starting of the role play, just let me check who all are there so that I can appoint. Okay, so I want Pankti you to start this role play and cover first bullet point. Then Dr. Faiz, if you are there. No, he has left. Okay. So in that case, Nikita, I want you to handle the second bullet point, reassuring them that it wouldn't be legally valid. Okay. So I don't know if the connection is a problem. So I have three new students as I can see, and I can definitely not get you in directly into the role play. So in that case, Nikita and Pankti, both of you I can see here. So what we would do is first two bullet points and starting of the role play, Pankti takes care of that. And Nikita, last two bullet points. I don't know what is wrong today. Maybe it is too difficult. No worries. Nikita, you do one thing. You start with the role play, and I'll do it with you. And then rest of the three students who are new, I'll come to you once you have witnessed the whole role play taking place. Then I would be asking you to do a bit of your part so that you also get a practice. Okay, Nikita, you can put your microphone on. Okay, Pankti is back. Pankti, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, Pankti, you would be taking care of first two bullet points as well as the introduction, and Nikita is going to take care of last two bullet points. Yeah, is that okay?
Oh, yes, okay, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead. You have any questions before we start?
I need some time.
No worries. Take 2 minutes time.